I'm the CEO of ImageSpan, and we're about to switch over. I'm here to talk to you about a partnership with ourselves, ImageSpan, and our partner, Digimarc. I'm speaking on behalf of both companies, just not to complicate it and to get within the time frame we've been allotted. But we also have folks from Digimarc here who are in the audience. So what we're going to talk about today is how we've brought our platforms together to give you a complete solution to manage, monitor, and monetize your image assets. The goal really is to allow both our platforms to work together in a very concerted effort to allow you to monetize your content, whether you're an amateur, as we just discussed, or a professional, and to do so after you've done a license or do it when people have unfortunately forgot to pay you. Our platform is called LicenseStream, and the goal here is just to have very automated marketing, licensing and royalty payment automation. And why that's important is most complex licensing and royalty payments are done by hand. It's always alarming to find out that people don't realize that most intellectual property is premium media and vice versa, and it's done by spreadsheets. I'll buy something and I'll do the settlement over time, many months later. So there's a big delta between the delivery of content, which can happen in seconds, and the arrival of, and then the actual transaction itself. It can be over a year at times. And there's always what we call a royalty overhang, which means that content takes a long time to process, so a transaction and a royalty payment goes back out to the creator. What that also means is content is easily stolen, because people don't put the licensing on it, they don't put the information on it. And it also means only a small segment of a total amount of content catalog actually gets monetized, because it's too costly to monetize the whole catalog. And what we've done is automated that process in a very powerful way with industry standards that allow you to range from microstock right up to, if you're a Disney, for example. Digimarc, on the other hand, has produced a very powerful system for watermarking. And it's an imperceptible watermark, and it also allows you to put tremendous amounts of information on the watermark. So you can associate with different countries, different regions, different types of providers, different types of licenses, even, and time frames. Anything you pretty much could imagine. And it allows us to talk to that information from the watermark and immediately spin up a license to generate a process where people can actually say, you found the watermark, here's the license. You can very rapidly associate information together and create a transaction and the settlement, all in a very rapid automated time frame. So you're collapsing this huge delta down to a very small finite set of moments. And you can embed it in any type of workflow, from firmware right up to the web. So what are we seeing today? I think most of you have seen this yourself personally, or your partners, or your customers, or your own company. You're just seeing a lot of content flow onto the web in a very uncontrolled fashion. And what ends up happening is that you start to lose the revenue opportunities with that content, what we call revenue leakage. You really lose the ability to prove ownership, which we've talked about, the ability to protect your content. And then, of course, you lose the ability to monetize it. And once it's out there, it becomes harder to, it's out of the cradle, so it's harder to track, because you want to get the watermark on it right away. So what you want to do is to catch the content before it gets out in the wild. We have ways to capture it back, but we prefer to do it before it gets out. What LicenseStream does is we pull all of that into a workflow, which we discussed earlier, for those who are here. We pull all of those processes from licensing, royalty processing, payment processing, and disbursement. People forget that once you do a transaction, you also have to pay, not only yourself, but your partners and your ad affiliates and so on. And that process of payment is also a very costly, time-consuming process. What we do is we drive everything off the content, the media object itself. The media object is intelligent. It can actually tell you who owns it, who gets paid what, where it gets paid, when the transaction occurred, what the watermark is. And while it's a complicated set of workflows, it's actually reduced down, distilled down to a very simple set of workflows. And then once it's enabled, it's made intelligent, it's very easy to publish to search, publish to web, publish to social media, publish to mobile. What we've done is allow, with our partner Digimarc, is Digimarc will scan or look for this content, will tell us where this content, will inform us, and then they will pass us in real time information that tells us, aha, we've got a flag, here's the information, here's the owner, and then we log it, because you don't need to, you want a log file. You want people to know, hey, we took a snapshot of your website. We saw some really interesting infringement in the previous discussion. We'd like to see that, because it tells us that we've got you cold. We know who owns it. We know what you've done with it. We know how long you've done for it. And we know how much that stuff costs, the image costs. So we're going to calculate. And then at a certain trigger point, we're going to let you know. And we're going to let you know in an automated fashion. We're going to let you know through an email. So no one has to get involved. We set flags, we set triggers, And we say, we scan for IP addresses, email addresses, information on the website. There's a whole array of information. Because when you're out there in public with someone else's content, it's usually for your own business. So actually, very interestingly, it's very easy to find who you are, what your information is, what your emails, what your customer service, and including what you're doing with the content. And what we do is send out this automated response. And what happens is we go, hey, we love the fact you like our content, but I think it's time to pay for it. And most people respond very positively to that, especially when they see a log file with what they've been doing for the last 6 months with the content, or the last 2 months or 3 months. It's very hard to deny that you've been using the content. And then, you know what we've seen in the record industry, we've scared the bejesus out of folks. We don't want to do that. We just say, hey, love the fact you love the content. How about you pay for it? Most people respond very well to that message. And in many cases, we just want you to link back to our website, because we're an advertising-driven site. So we want that extra links going back to drive up our advertising count. Sometimes it's a takedown. We don't want you to use our content at all. And sometimes it is it will have to route into a collections process. But what you have right now is a takedown or stolen. Those are two very binary options. When you map in Digimarc's watermarking and license stream, what you have is a whole revenue arc that you can start to monetize from, not just this very binary and frankly not very profitable model, which is takedown or get stolen. I won't do it as justice as Digimarc will, but what we have is a very imperceptible model, and they're on the 4th generation of this, where we can watermark without seeing the watermark on the content. And one of the things is it allows content to, the watermark allows the image effectively to be read by a computer, to see and to hear the watermark. And it tells us where it is and what it's doing and who's using it. And it tells us who owned it. So it's a very powerful way to create a marker, a token, out on the web. And Digimarc has been doing this for a very long time. And they're a very good partner in bringing that expertise. And it talks very directly to our engine in a very nice dovetailed fashion. This is, I talked about licensing and dashboards. This is a content tracker view. It's very much what people have done with the image, what the original image looks like, what the IP addresses are, what your responses are. And you can modify your responses from everything to, glad you like it, just give me a circle C, or whatever the response is. You can set the flags, the triggers. You can do it on revenues lost. And also what's interesting about using Digimarc and the watermarking map to us, you get great market intelligence. Because why market in an area like Washington State when all your theft is going on in North Carolina? Actually, they're future customers. So go figure out a way to monetize and go talk to that audience. And don't focus on Washington State. And you get a lot of market intelligence just from finding out where your content is leaking. And then obviously providing a revenue model beyond that is very useful as well. So, you know, what we've done is bring management and tracking full circle and simplify the process. What we've talked about a lot of complex workflows. What we've done is simplify it, put it behind the scenes, allow you to white label it for your own company, your own system. Talk through web services. Take advantage of the cloud in a powerful way and reduce the labor, because once you get a certain amount of content out on the web, you can only monetize a fraction of it in a manual process. And then automate the pursuit of the content, whether it's for marketing reasons or for takedown reasons or for you owe me money reasons. And do it very quickly and effectively. And that's what we provide, and that's what we're announcing today.